Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Live.
So hello and whatever. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. As keeping up with the rest of this month, we've got some special guests. We'll get into that here in just a second. We will not be at the Mystical Market this weekend due to, and I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. So the reason why some of the content, especially the energetic forecasts and things like that, have been sparing is because my mother has recently declined in health, and tonight we made the decision to move her to hospice. So we're not going to be there, at least as far as the team is concerned, this weekend. But Mr. Tyree of Stevens Healing Vibrations, he's going to be there doing his thing. It'll be his debut at the Mystical Market, so please go out and support him. You got anything to say?
How much are healings?
Cough, cough. Talk about your shit.
Yeah, come and get some racial breath.
Let me vibrate you.
Vibrational sound healings.
Come on, let him fork you.
Yeah.
But no, he's very good at what he does. He's been through his training, and it's always great getting a session from him. He's one of the only people that I will actually let work on me. So it's always great to see him, and I'm glad that he actually got his space. Do we have anything coming up in the next little bit?
We do have some special guests for the rest of the month as far as Thursday Night Live and potentially Tarot Night Live.
Yeah.
So other than that, I think that kind of clears us out for the rest of August.
Okay.
September, we'll have new exciting announcements and we'll be rocking and rolling.
Speaking of September.
That's why I was like, hey, but while Tyree is graciously grabbing the paper from the side that I thought he already had in his hand, that's okay, guys. We are at the Missing Elements, just as a reminder. It is our shop. We have classes here. We're hoping to bring back the 300s in September. And we do have a retail side here. Spirit Mechanics is focused here as far as workings, and Stevens Healing Vibrations is here as well. We do have a special guest coming in September, though, that Tyree can talk about real quick.
Yeah, Miss Joanna Dickey will be here at the shop on September 14th or the 21st. She'll be here both days, but you can get one of the classes. It's Intro to Shamanism with a Shamanic Journey.
That's awesome.
And it's awesome. You will enjoy yourself. You might even make a new friend or two. That'll be from 12:30 to 1:30 on the 14th and the 21st of September. You can email her at woundedhealerkentucky@gmail.com.
Woo!
And space is limited, and it doesn't cost anything, just a cash donation.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
So.
All right. That being said, let's get into the melting pot of a circus that's going to be this live. But as you guys can see, we have special guests this week. This is Mr. Wes Forsythe and his wife, Anita Forsythe. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
But so the way this works, we did this last week with Misty Connor, and the week before with Missy and Mandy. And the way it works is we ask a question, and then you guys ask a question. So be thinking about that. Yeah, we're putting you on the fucking
It's all
spot.
on you, babe.
Jesus, thank you.
Fucking
This
spot.
is my fourth podcast this week. All but one on this side of the microphone. So yeah, I
and,
got
and you just get my elbow mostly. So
yeah. See,
So,
go get the bear.
so, yeah, at least as far as the first question, you know, everybody wants to talk to you guys about Scarefest and what it is that you do for that, and we're gonna go for this particular interview because you do it enough. If people don't know you and what you do for Scarefest at this point, they don't know Scarefest. But I want to get into a little bit of how it is that we met you guys. So, what got you into the metaphysics, the paranormal, things like that? What is it that started the Forsythes down that particular road?
We like watching ghost hunters. I wish there was a better story behind it, but truthfully, we sat there. We were big fans of ghost hunters, lesser so ghost adventurers, paranormal state, but we were big fans of ghost hunters. But we watched it. But I was a guy that sat in his armchair yelling at the screen. No, that doesn't mean that. No, you can't. Why would you assume that? And so finally, one night, a friend of ours owns the Ross Opera House here in Cynthiana, and he put on Facebook, hey, would anybody like to go ghost hunting tonight? And it was basically a shit or get off the pot moment for myself. So I had an infrared camera that had never been used in the dark. I had a flash camera, and I might have had a voice recorder. Because we used to fox hunt and we used them to record our scores. So that was my arsenal, and a flashlight, of course. And I went and honestly got diddly squat that night. As far as evidence, nothing. I had some experiences, minor, but I loved the feeling. I loved walking around in the dark, and so I was hooked instantly. So me being the kind of addictive personality that I am, I went out and bought like 16 video cameras, all kinds of recording equipment, the whole DVR system, and we went and we started ghost hunting. The only difference that as I got into it more and more, it wasn't just wanting to see ghosts or wasn't just wanting to capture evidence. I wanted to learn more about the field. Then I started basically my podcast about that time. That was 2008, 2009, right in there. And then I was having some good luck, but I wasn't the guy that got pushed down the stairs. I wasn't the guy that got the scratches. And we were going the same places everybody else was. And so finally, I went to a Cardone Center in Georgetown, and it was we had a very good night, had some really great evidence, but I wasn't okay. A girl that I was dousing. I'm a big douser. That's one thing I like doing. And I was dousing, and a girl I was teaching people to douse, and one of them got spiritually attacked. Now, I was, I was in a meditative state at that time, but I wasn't pursuing the metaphysical. But right after that, I went to the old Mystic Fair, and went in, and basically I'd known Patty for a while, and I said, Patty, I want you to recommend me to a psychic, and she did. And then basically from there, I started exploring the metaphysical side. I never thought of myself as a psychic at all. Now, along the way, Anita discovered she started growing more empathic ability. Now, don't let me speak for you if you want to tell that part of
You
it.
tell the story better than I do.
And so my theory all along has been exposure to the field, open exposure to the field, sensitizes you to it anyway. So her being, and I think being female, the main difference is she's always been that person. She's always been a good judge of character and all that kind of stuff. Me, I'm more of the warrior type. My shields go up. So when I go into a location or whatever, I'm on the defensive, you might say. I have trouble opening it. Matter of fact, when I sit down with most psychics for a reading, they'll go, you gotta open that door. You gotta do something. All right. We might as well just walk away. And I've learned to do that, but I'm a guarded person, but that is also expanded into wanting to learn more about the energetic and protection side of the field. And that's what I've allegedly excelled at.
I'd
And
say
I'm
so.
scared of the dark, but I love ghost hunting. Go figure.
Hey, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So I am going to put you on the spot, Anita. So about these empathic abilities, because I'm gonna jump in there with this kind of part two. Since y'all were supposed to be talking about this as a couple, so I'm going to put you on the spot. So about these empathic abilities of yours and the particular story behind it, what's going on with that?
I mean, I just have sensitive feelings when I go in different places, and I try to open myself up and just feel it. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I just go in open and just let whatever tell me whatever.
Next time Moss sees me, I'm not going to get a hug. I'm going to get punched in the gut.
The advantage to her being empathic. Now we don't, she's not a full blown medium or anything like that.
No.
But where we like dowsing, she's actually a much better dowser than I am. She's much more open to the experience. She's much more open to the energies that are involved. So she's much more sensitive on that level than I am. So on that level, we kind of complement each other.
I do the dowsing and he asks the questions, and I don't know what he's going to ask. Most of the time I just close my eyes and just tune everything out. And half the time I don't even hear what he's asking.
I really did
Unless
that
I get a
too.
message.
Well, true. I've watched you guys work. There was a couple of students that take the paranormal investigation class that, were lucky enough to be able to see you guys do that in action, and some of them you guys were able to teach. And I like your all's method a lot better than what most people would do, which is use them themselves. And I think that's pretty cool too.
Well, even if you're going to use them yourself, even in ours, now we use it and we have had some validation from it. I'll tell you about one in a minute. But when people use dowsing rods, and I'm going to tell everybody this, psychic, not psychic, they're as accurate as like a $3 wristwatch at best. They just, you'll get false positives, you'll get false negatives. But one night we were at the Ross Opera House, and Chris Maggart, right? Is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah, Christopher Maggart was shooting a little documentary, part of a documentary there. And he had heard that we were great dowsers, and Roger invited us in as the local experts on the location. And he said, he said, I don't believe in dowsing. I said, well, let's try something. The ghosts here are very, very good with EVPs. They're very talkative as far as ghosts go. I said, let's do an EVP session and a dowsing session at the same time and see if they correlate. And so he laid his recorder down underneath the Veneta. I asked the questions, yes and no questions mostly. And he was getting audio answers on the recording at the same time she was getting them dowsing. So take it for what it's worth.
I mean, I'd consider that accurate.
Yeah.
So, you have any questions for us? It's your all's turn. You can put us on the hot, in the hot seat.
Come up with a good one.
What brought you all together as a group? And the reason I'm going to ask that is because I've been ghost hunting with multiple psychics before, and people that have gifts, and I know on your team you have several of you have different levels of gifts. I've found that it's like having two people playing FM radios on different stations. They don't it's like one always cancels the other out, or one it'll make one try too hard. How do you all come together and overcome that and work together?
When do y'all want to answer that?
Good one.
I do this for a living.
I know you do. I just punch buttons.
That is a really good question, but someone else other than me talk.
Well, I know, like, when I'm out with the team on investigations, 9 times out of 10, I have to step away from Steve because it's like you were saying, it's an FM radio. We drown each other out. So, like when we're at the Ross, when he's on the stage downstairs, I'm upstairs in the room upstairs.
For me, it's kind of a trust thing, because if I get to the point where it's okay, nope, I'm not getting anything, then I have no qualm saying that. And if that's the case, then something needs to be shifted and changed. And half the time it's either A, what I'm using, or B, they want to talk to somebody else other than me. And I don't mind that, because we're here for them anyway. So it's just kind of putting the ego aside and actually going, okay, no, why are we actually here?
What about you, Ray?
For me, usually when we're actually investigating, I kind of zero myself out. I'm not focusing on abilities or what I pick up from that. I'm focusing on the equipment and make sure everything's set and seeing what I can pick up evidence-wise instead of, seeing who's talking to me in a different manner. At that point, they know if they're talking to me, I'm going to pick it up on the recorders or the cameras, and because I always tell them, I want to hear your story. I want you to talk to me. I want to hear your story. So that is usually my method at that point.
One of the biggest things with spirit mechanics, at least that I've noticed, that sets us a little bit aside from most paranormal investigation teams or sensitive teams, is that we're open and honest with what it is we can do and what it is that we can't. So a lot of times on cases, or even in public events, like the market or Scarefest, when we're there doing our thing, the teams that are there are tailor made. So people work in shifts, or the teams that are there, or the teams that are in the homes are tailor made to the situation, so that we usually don't clash. Or if we have two people like Tyree and myself that work in similar ways, we know that one of us could be outside while the other one's in, or on a different level of the home, or a different level of the space. That way, there's no kind of clash. We understand how each other works. And then, like Pat was saying, it's a trust thing. I'm not getting anything. Are you getting something? Well, no, not really. But what if Ray's picking something up with his equipment? Okay, so there is something here. It doesn't want to have anything to do with us. So let's find the other man on the team to see if they can get something. Being able to put the ego aside and go, look, it's not working for me, or I'm not getting anything, or that's not my bag, is one of the biggest things that's really helped us out. And going, you're better at this than me. You're more sensitive to these things than I am. Allows for different people to shine, and it makes for a much more harmonious teamwork kind of situation. At least that's the best answer that I could give. Is that satisfactory, Pop?
You answered the question. That's how it works.
I did good. But
Big thumbs up, buddy.
So you mentioned the Ross Opera House. It's literally, you walk into the Ross and instantly your name comes up. It's just one of those things. The Forsythes are a staple there, and you guys were, some of the investigators, if not the investigators, that actually got, the Raws on the map as far as being a hot spot. Uh, Tell us a little bit about that, because they usually show like a reel. There's like a
Mhm.
sizzle reel of evidence that they've gotten over the years, and you guys are literally like 90% of it half the time.
Well, we
So,
spent a lot of time there too. I always tell people, okay, Ross was the first place I ghost hunted. It's where I got addicted. It was where we kind of put together a few friends and went
Absolutely.
just to ghost hunt before we even had real equipment. It's where I learned to douse. Now, the thing is, the ghost took a liking to me for whatever reason. And I tell people the ghost taught me how to ghost hunt.
Mhm.
How's that for metaphysical bullshit? But
I mean, it's pretty on par.
but they we did. I do believe the time we spent there, we created a communication level with them that now we can't go into tomorrow and duplicate that. They're
Right.
we're back at ground level. They remember us, but I'll put it this way: we got so familiar with them, we were able to identify the girls by name. There's 3 female ghosts there. We got their name. Now you say, oh, he identified them. We actually were able to, through research, one of the names we came up with, pulling out of our ass, actually, Spirit Box. We actually were able to verify that is a real person that was in the family back.
Roger came up with some paperwork that we were able to look at the paperwork and see that the names matched.
That's
which
awesome.
was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I know I'm not just talking to walls when I go in there. We got example, we did a spirit box session one night. First time I'd ever used one. First time I'd ever used Ghost Box, Shack Hack, the original. And I thought it was bullshit. I'll say it. I thought it was bullshit because I have sat through a lot of bullshit Ghost Hack Shack Shack Hack sessions. But we sat there, and so we asked the little girls their names, and that's the night that we came up with the names. But the last one we couldn't get. We could not hear anything. We kind of felt based on the evidence there was 3 female ghosts there, but we could not get the name. And then the team was throwing out they were going through the big baby book of names. And I was going, no, that's not how you do it. If you don't hear it, shut your goddamn mouth. So finally we just gave up. Then I came home and listened to the recordings, and there it was, plain as day on the digital recorder. The little girl said Loretta. Actually, it wasn't even a little girl's voice. It sounded more male, honestly, on the recording. But okay, so I got a name. I said, okay, well, let's validate this. Let's find out if that was some AM radio station saying Loretta Lynn. Next time we went back, we set up and we set a camera on us so people could see everybody in the building was there in a circle. Nobody was talking that wasn't, and we laid the recorder down right next to the Shack Hack. Shack Hack. That's right. I hate words that rhyme. And we said, okay, we think your name's Loretta, but if I'm right, I'd like you to say your name again, or something to that effect. And we did it, and we did not hear it. We did not hear a thing. But we didn't pursue it too much. We went back and reviewed the evidence, and there's a little girl's voice back on the camera that was 15, 20 foot from us going, Loretta. And that was a consummate ghost hunting experience. Now, interestingly enough, the digital recorder did pick it up, but just barely. You have to really, really listen to the digital recorder. So, okay, I have verified audio evidence. I'm ready to quit. And then it wasn't long after that, we got the video evidence of the little girl apparently following us as we left the auditorium. That's one of the ones that they love down there. We've tried, I'll put it this way. I'm 90% sure there's that little 10% of doubt in my mind, but we've never been able to recreate it. The timing was just perfect. The movement was perfect. Different people look at it and see different things. So here I am. I've gotten a full body apparition, well, actually half a body apparition. I've gotten verified. I've gotten EVPs, so many EVPs from that place that they actually got boring to listen to. What else am I going to do? And that's when I got that's when I started really pursuing the spiritual side of the field and trained myself and had people help me. Don't get me wrong, but I had people help me and train myself to basically be a spiritual warrior. Ta-da.
There it is. All right. We got any comments?
Yeah.
We'll take the comments real quick. A couple
God.
questions.
Oh,
Or,
Lord.
Howdy,
I just-
We
everybody.
have it pulled up.
And Paranormal Walks is in the UK, and they popped in to say hi.
oh, hello.
Yeah, it was 2 a.m. there.
Yeah. So hi, everybody. At one point, Tracy had mentioned that you had apparently walked right by a ghost and didn't notice it until afterwards, Wes.
Yeah, that was one of my proudest moments at Waverly Hills. We were setting up. Now, for the record, we weren't in ghost hunting in earnest, but we were setting up. We had just me and another fellow had just put DVRs in the at the bottom and top of the stairs in the center of the building, and so basically we had just set that up, got it just the way we wanted it, and so we're trucking down the hallway to get back to the team, and I'm trucking down that hallway, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a guy standing in one of the rooms, up against the wall, kind of looking down, but a very clear image. And I buzz right past the room. And it takes me about 5 seconds. I went, what the hell was that? Of course, you go back, there's nothing there. So, yes, I actually did completely miss seeing a full body apparition. And that's really the only thing I've seen with my eyes. Now, I've had other things where I've seen like stuff move. But as far as actual ghosts, that's my proud moment. I almost saw a ghost.
And you walked right by it.
Walked right past it. He just laughed, I'll bet.
Tracy said, I've seen them work dowsing. You know it's working when Anita has tears in her eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, once we got into the metaphysical side, we got into a lot of, I don't want to say, you could call it spirit removal, but mostly it was spirit. I'm more comfortable with the spirit resolution cases. Very few of the spirits had any malevolent or bad intent, but we sometimes are just not welcome house guests.
Right. And a lot of sadness.
Yeah, a lot of sadness.
And I that part of it I do when I feel the hurt, the pain, the whatever. Yeah, I do take that on, and I have to push that back. Yeah. And little kids, we had one that I had a little kid that kept popping in and out of the rooms, and that one made me cry. So
didn't make me cry.
Shay said the ego is huge. The ego thing is huge when you're doing this kind of work, like putting it aside.
Yeah.
Miss Carol asked, when did you start paranormal filler?
I already brought that up. You must have tuned in late. I think it was 2008, maybe 2009.
Okay.
And
because I to clarify, I had not been in the field very long when I started paranormal filler, but it basically started out was just me coming on and talking about what we had experienced,
right,
thinking about stuff, and really, just trying to exchange information. Then I started having guests on to exchange information. And then somebody one night says, you're really good with guests. And I went, well, okay. And then I started interviewing and got the attention fairly quickly of the TV field, the TV ghost hunters. And so getting guests on Paranormal Filler was never hard for me. I got some really good guests, had some really good conversations, but and talked to a lot of psychics. And only really I talked to one psychic that I thought was just totally out of her fucking mind. She's from Australia, so nobody I know up over here. And I did experience what I was convinced was my first cold reading.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And with someone that we really respected a whole lot.
Yeah. And she gave me an in-person reading. It was a psychic, regionally famous, not from around here. And we were at an event and she grabbed us and pulled both of us aside and said, "You all just drip energy," and talked about all this
Talked to
stuff.
us for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then took me back. I went back to her table. She gave me what I felt was a pretty good reading. You know, I'll put it this way, it meshed with my experience. So I kept in touch with her. So then I had her on the show. Matter of fact, I may have did I have her twice or just once?
I think you just had her once.
But there was a pretty good time delay.
Right. And it was right after your dad passed.
Yeah.
And she did a cold reading on Wes.
And she came on and said, basically came on and said, because I told her, she asked me if I wanted a message for my dad. I said, I do not want a message for my dad unless he uses the phrase that I've told my spirit guides. That's the only way I will recognize him. Short of if he comes to me in a dream. If he wants to talk to me through a psychic, he has to use that phrase. Well, he didn't use that phrase. She came up with something about him riding a John Deere tractor. And we do not own a goddamn John Deere tractor. We've never owned a John Deere tractor.
Yeah.
Because they're too expensive mostly. But in other words, she went into the stereotype of being a farmer and thought that would catch my eye. And then also the message that she gave was not my dad's personality at all. I mean, even if it was something, no, it was. And so I knew right away she she tried to overlay my personality onto what she thought my dad would be like. My dad and I, we had a lot of stuff in common, but personality was not one of them.
That's rough.
It's rough.
But it also made me more, I don't want to say suspicious of psychics. That would be hypocritical as hell. But I'm more reserved with them so I'll admit that. So they got to give me, in other words, they got to give me a lot of pizzazz. They got to do something to impress me before I really get in touch with them, you might say.
We got any more?
Nope, just a couple other people saying hi.
Then it is y'all's turn to ask a question.
Come on, baby. Come up with a good one.
Do you know how hard it is to answer a question and then ask a question? Will you watch your chair? I'm going to yank my ear out. What is, okay, in your opinion, what is your opinion of the most haunted location that you've been to? By whatever standard you want to use. But but I would prefer someplace other people could access.
Okay. So you're asking what we feel is the most haunted location, or our opinions of what is supposed to be a haunted location?
Both. I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough.
Pick it up a little bit.
For me, the most haunted location would be Octagon Hall.
Okay.
That's on my wish list.
It's fun.
It's a hop and play.
It delivers. Yeah.
Easy stomach.
So, like, as far as haunted places go, Gaines Tavern was pretty awesome. It's one that not a lot of people are too familiar with in the area, I don't think.
And I mean, I don't think it's been a huge, like, tapped spot. I use that word hilariously, ironically, because one of the reasons why it was actually put on the map is Taps actually investigated there. It was actually a pretty fun spot. I thought anyway.
Yeah, had some pretty cool experiences.
Air quotes.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you think, Ray? What's yours? Something that people can access.
As far as how haunted it is, definitely Octagon Hall is up there. Gettysburg, like the entire town of Gettysburg, is just off the
Yeah.
map
Yes,
as far
absolutely.
as
Absolutely.
activity goes. But of course, my favorite nobody can get into, at least not anymore, as far as I know, and that was Bobby Mackey's. But I always had fun with the spirits there. They know me quite well.
I was actually going to ask that in my next round. I'm starting to get into host mode now. I wrote down the next question. So
There you go. Actually, Mackey's
Well, I won't
was
go more into it until then. Then
okay.
right. Yeah, Mackey's was probably mine. I had only just recently been, thanks to Jeff, Matt, and Raymond. I had only just been recently for the first time after doing what I do for fucking decades, and it was kind of a bucket list situation, and it wound up being really awesome. Um, a lot of people go in and they kind of bitch and carry on about not getting the kind of evidence that's usually on TV. And I'm sitting here going, well, you're not talking to them right. And um, it's a bar. Don't go in there and expect to get activity when you're commanding someone who is probably drunk to look into a light and talk at it like it's a human being, or play with this toy that a grown ass person is not going to mess with, or and since you have that question loaded, we'll get into some of the stuff that we got while we were there. But yeah, Mackey's was actually really fun. It was one of the more fun locations.
I kind of feel like anywhere could technically be haunted if you look hard enough and if you have the right situation in hand.
I mean, yo, there's a ghost.
Yeah.
Is kind of a thing, but yeah, I mean, as far as haunted locations, haunted properties, one of the more interesting locations, I think, which they would severely uh, say no to us investigating, but St. Luke's Cathedral in Nicholasville is haunted as fuck. And it is probably one of the more haunted locations in the Tri-County area, just because of what it's built from. But if you guys want to know the backstory of that one, we can tell you in private, because they would probably throw a fit if we had this out on internet television.
Okay.
But yeah, those would be my picks. You ask a question. You do it.
Okay. This one's actually for Anita.
Uh-oh.
I was wondering when someone was gonna just get it.
I'm gonna be gentle, but I'm just really curious. What is your favorite farm animal pet that has become a pet that would potentially not have been a traditional pet?
Oh gosh. That wouldn't have been a traditional pet.
You're not. You think a little bit. What do you have to? What licks my back every day?
Pokey.
Well,
I have a calf that is just, well, she's not a calf anymore. She's 2 years old, but she had a lot of health issues when she was young, so she's become a big pet. But she walks around with her tongue sticking out all the time, and she's taught my 36-year-old horse to do it. Yeah. So yeah, Pokey, my calf.
We had a pet duck,
Yeah.
but the cat, yeah, we tend to, when we raise bottle calves, they become real friendly. But the one that we got now, she's, to put it politely, she's special needs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she
My
leaves
mom
that
always
tongue
said it
hanging out.
special. I just didn't know who Ed was.
But yeah, she leaves her tongue stuck out all the time. And if you happen to get where she can lick you, she will lick you. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about calves?
Yeah.
But,
I just wanted to know.
it's the little things, right?
Exactly.
Mimi said it, and Anita defends the calf is a normal house pet. I agree.
I have had them in my kitchen.
We've seen pictures.
There's lots of proof. There's lots of proof of that.
Okay, so that was your question. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah.
My opinion of Bobby Mackey's was that it's one of the most overrated haunted locations, in that the activity is either off the charts, or you can go in there one night and you can't get a dust orb to fly up.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you take Wes and a priest in there,
Yeah, now that-
nothing happens.
Yeah, that did happen on
Nothing
Halloween one year.
happens. Yeah.
Celebrity ghost hunt. Me and an Anglican exorcist went in, and they couldn't get any evidence at all. And I'm like, you might as well had the Winchester show up. You know, these ghosts were going, I don't know what went down, but we're but yeah. But that's been my experience. Ghost hunting there, I've not had great luck, but then at the same time, I have had some experiences there, and I used to help Wanda, the tour guide that used to work there. Whenever that's where I really learned, or I should say, cut my teeth. I guess would be a good phrase. When as a spiritual bouncer, when the activity would get out of hand, she would call me and Terry Page, and we would go in and give the ghost a good talking to, and quiet them down for a while.
Fair enough.
Tell me your all's opinions individually on your experiences at Bobby Mackey's.
Go ahead, Ray. You go first.
I've always treated it like a bar and just went in to have a good time, and they usually hang out with me, and they've actually told me quite a bit about their backgrounds. You know, there were individuals that were in the basement that had been murdered, and they would tell us their story down there. And then we had our wonderful friend that was playing poker with us at one night. We even got a disembodied voice of him up there in Carl's apartment. Steve asked a question, and audibly you could hear him say no. And it picked up on a camera across the room.
That one actually kind of fucked me up too.
Yeah, that one was pretty wild. But we've had cat balls set up on all the tables, and me and Jeff Matt were in there going, all right, it's Bobby and Mackey's. Here's who's here to party, and you'd see different tables light up. And it continued the entire time we were asking questions, different tables would light up. So it was just how we approached the building. Next.
Well, I mean, that kind of covered everything that I was involved in. So
He's
hashtag ditto.
Well, here, I tell you what, let me add to the question. This is where, okay, now it's very complicated, my relationship with Bobby Mackey's. But did you ever feel like there was anything evil there?
Oh.
That's kind of
I
a
don't
stretch.
mean just a turd drunk that, I mean, genuinely elementally evil.
Well, it's interesting that you say elementally evil. I think that's kind of cool, personally. But no, I don't think that there was anything quote evil there, or that would be typically considered evil. Nor do I think there's a quote portal to hell in the basement.
No, that's
Yeah, no.
that's an old street drain to the river. I know what that was.
But I do think that there is various different things there that would get pissy or frustrated if something was just like, hey, talk into this little light. Well, what if I don't want to? Talk into the light. About what? Then that probably got very frustrated. Plus, I mean, you deal with enough drunk people on a consistent basis, you're probably going to want to get a little feisty. That's my opinion, though.
Don't look at me. I've never been there.
What's your opinion though?
Uh,
Because that's what he's asking.
Yeah.
You know, is what's your overall opinion of Mackey's? Is it overrated? Is it underrated?
I think it's overrated for the most part. That I think every investigative team has been there, and they all come up with something different and can't prove jack shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, fair and true.
So I honestly have no reason to walk into that bar.
Well, you won't do it now anyway.
Nah, yeah, it's closed.
You did have a fun
Not
experience,
till
though.
free bill.
Well, oh, you're talking about me.
I'm talking about you.
So, yeah, apparently it was a situation that I had to involve my fucking self in. So we go in, and of course, there's the big story about the entity, the dude in the guy's bathroom that throws trash cans, and they switched it from a metal trash can to being a plastic one because this particular entity supposedly would throw the trash can across the room and actually started to hurt people. And nature called. Like, well, I apparently chose now to have to take an enormous shit and go back there. You want me to go with you, Steve? No, fuck off. So go back in there, and I'm having to do this by phone light, and the toilet is literally coming off the floor, so I'm having to hold the toilet and the seat together while I'm in the middle of this, and I keep hearing mumbles and stuff, which I figured was them outside, and then I started hearing whispers. And I'm going, all right, who the fuck followed me in here, especially during this situation? Godspeed to them. And about that time, I had my sensory cane was leaned up against the inside of the door of the stall, and it lifts up and flies across the room. Lifts up over the stall like someone's pulling at it over the stall. Just kind of lifts up like someone pulled it. And it winds up across the room. And I'm like, well, looks like I'm getting into a fucking fist fight, and I'm in the middle of getting myself cleaned up and walk out. And I see my cane in the floor, pick it up, set it there, and while I'm washing my hands, don't ever fucking do that again. I really don't have the patience or any of the time to get into a fist fight with you while I'm taking shit. Let's not do this ever again. And I walk out and everybody's like, Steve, are you okay? I'm like, what? And all we were hearing was her coming from the bathroom. I'm like, well, I had an altercation. It ended very weirdly, and I think we're friends? ? Because, but So, I mean, to say the place wasn't haunted is a little, you know, yeah, there's stuff there, but to say that there's something that was inherently evil,
Mhm.
uh, I'm really having a hard time with that. Um, there was something that could have been considered darker there, but was it evil and, aggressively trying to kill people and all this other thing? No. We, like Ray said, we wound up playing cards with it, like actually playing cards with it. We're like, look, dude, we'll leave the door open for you if you want to come downstairs and talk. We're playing cards. Came downstairs and we had Keith there with us, and he opened up and, okay, what do I do? And I just deal the cards out and use your intuition. Which cards do you need to keep? We were playing 5 card. Which cards do you need to keep? Which ones do you want to change? And between Keith and this entity, they wound up beating everybody at the table at least twice. I think it maybe 3 times. It was the most hilarious fucking thing. We left a shot of whiskey. We left it out, and we'd leave and come back, and there were audible, like visual sips that were taken out of it with nobody there in the room. So dude was just there to hang out with us. I don't understand why there was such a big deal, but apparently he didn't care for the people that were there at one point. But like Pat said, you go in, you start shit in someone else's house, they're going to beat your ass.
Right.
So, but as far as Bobby Mackey's itself being, what it is, I think it was way overhyped, and I think that a lot of the history of the actual place was lost at one point and
Embellished. I think the
Yeah.
word you want is embellished.
Embellished is a good word.
It's a good word. It's a safe word. That's the safe word for the night, is embellished. But yeah, I think the rumor mill got to it, and then there was a lot of hype, and a place has to live up to that hype or it doesn't get the business that it needs, and things just got blown out of proportion after a while. Personal opinion.
Renee said
Cracking the foundation was the scariest thing for me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, on our side, the scariest thing about the building was the foundation.
It's for real.
Yeah.
When they said they were tearing it down, I went, "Thank you, Jesus."
It was going to end up in the river.
I figured they'd have a big party one night and the whole building would just roll across the railroad tracks into the river.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is the first floor, the ground floor. I'm in the restroom and the toilet is sinking into the floor, and I'm having to hold on to it to keep it from falling and me with it. So I understand.
for that visual.
Hey, look, it was a struggle. Y'all, if I had to
It
suffer
was late
so
in the
y'all,
building that night too, because it was pouring rain, and
It
it was
was.
leaking through the ceiling.
it sounded like someone was pouring buckets out in the corners.
Mm.
It was
bad.
bad.
Let's see. Mandy says, I feel
I'm going back. Hold on. Give me a second.
that place is a lot like Waverly in that it is so run through with people investigating that any entities there are like,
Fuck you. I'm not
Fuck,
performing
yeah.
tonight.
Now, actually, I disagree. Waverly has a healthy dose of what I call tourist ghost. They enjoy the attention.
Okay,
That's my opinion, though.
fair. I could agree with that. I think Waverly's another spot that's a lot like Bobby Mackey's in that some things are either exaggerated, embellished, rumors got out of control. certain areas may be as bad as some claim, but I don't think the whole place is as overrun with active spirits and ghosts and entities as people say. Um, I have seen evidence of the actual creeper. You know, the things that crawl on the walls and shit. Yeah, I have actually actively seen those. You know, and things like that. But
I got a picture
uh,
of it.
yeah, I mean, it is there. Um, a lot of some of the nursing staff and some of the patients will come and talk to you. You know, that kind of thing. But the most aggressive thing that I think I've actually come in any form of contact with would be those creepers. That would be about it.
Tracy said, I don't know, man, but whatever you do, don't go poop. LOL. It's not funny, but it is.
Oh, it's meant to be funny. It was hilarious at the time it happened because I was, what do you do? I'm not a screamer. I'm not a runner, and I didn't have the ability to do either one, even if I wanted to. So it was going to be a fist fight. It was going to be a problem, and I was going to make it its problem as well. So yeah, it's a funny story.
Renee said the ladies' room was not safer either, and she's right, it wasn't. Mimi said, I'm glad it didn't when I was there, and Tracy said that I've only seen it on portals. Jack was terrified.
Yeah, I mean that the wall crawling asshole is. I mean it's fun. It's fun to hear it. It sucks being clairaudient sometimes, but it's actually fun hearing that thing crawl around because it doesn't make a normal sound. It's like it skitters like cat or dog claws on hardwood.
You're absolutely sure you didn't hear a raccoon.
Oh, no.
I'm not kidding. Now, I'm not saying that the creeper's not there. My spirit guides informed me it was, and it would just like attention. But one time we were with our college, following some college kids, and it was late in the night. We were almost ready to pack up, I think, and they heard something scratching in the wall. And I said, and they were convinced it was paranormal. I said, congratulations, you have found a rodent. I know that sound.
Right.
So I'm just saying, throw it out there. But and like when Ghost Hunters did it, and they caught the little short apparition on the thermal at the end of the hallway, that's totally a raccoon.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, we told with Misty last week, you know, we talked about having cases where people heard scratches in their walls and things like that. And it was squirrels in their attic and, you know, raccoons that got trapped up there and different things like that. So I completely understand. It's a weird click. It's not like the typical, because it sounds like that, like cat claws or dog claws on hardwood, but it's oddly timed. So it's not like the front and back paws moving as they should with a raccoon or something like that. It's weird clicks like tapping, like fingernails clicking when you roll your fingers. But every time it moves, just really weird kind of sound.
I have a question.
Oh yeah, it's about that time, isn't it?
Yeah. What is your favorite piece of evidence that you have debunked?
Oh God. The one that comes to mind.
Fuck you. We can do it
Okay,
too.
two. I got two. Somebody sent me a video from Waverly Hills of, they called it an orb, but it wasn't an orb. It was a bat. Now, the reason I know it was a bat is I put it on Windows Media Player. It's not like I pulled out the forensic evidence here. I put it on on Windows Media Player and just kept hitting pause until I caught it. And basically, when you can see that, it's a bat. Okay? Definite bat. Now, so that one, and they still said, no, it couldn't have been a bat. I said, yeah, kind of could have.
Yeah, because they buzz you.
Now, there, if you can, it's still probably on YouTube. But there was and I'm gonna throw them under the bus. There was a group, and I believe they called themselves Sin City Paranormal for Cynthiana.
Yeah.
They had a recording of two ghosts fighting at the Ross Opera House. Arguing.
Yeah, that's what we said.
That's
And it sounded suspiciously like the bar parking lot that's right next door when it lets out at 2 a.m. Just saying.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, most of the time I don't actively debunk. If somebody sends me something, I'll tell them what it could be. Because I've already learned if people are invested in it being paranormal,
You're not going to convince
not
them
gonna
any
convince
different. It don't matter what you say or what you
Yeah.
pull out. You're wrong and they're right.
but I do like there was somebody sent me a video of a mental or a puckwudgie or something out west. And I said, I'm pretty sure they showed its eyes in the grass. I said, I think you found a coyote. And I'm not saying it was a coyote. It could have been a raccoon, could have been anything. But the point is, if you see eyes that are reflecting infrared light because you're shining your infrared camera over in the weeds.
Welcome to the country.
Yeah, welcome to the country.
Broke Tyree.
I've got ghosts and demons all over my yard every night.
Let me take my own picture. Here you go. Click, click.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Well, see, that's like, what was it? The first time we were I went to the Raws with you all.
Mhm.
I was upstairs with somebody and I kept hearing talking over in the corner. And I was like, okay, I got to get over. I'm going over there. And went to the window and it was like a group of people walking down the street.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. That place just, it echoes. And when that bar was in business, it's like one night there was a group that went in there and they were like, oh, the ghosts were they were fighting and they were saying, fuck you and fuck you. And we were like, no, that was the bar. That wasn't the ghost in Ross. No.
Now
But
this,
they were convinced.
now this wasn't actually a debunk. This was me trying to explain to somebody. We were at the Ross, and they had those big ass fans. You know, the big 2 foot, 3 foot tall fans. Well, they had one of those setting up in the balcony. I'm not even sure why they had it up there, but they had a fan, and there was something else setting behind it. And when you would turn the lights off from the back lit, it looked like a perfectly round fat man wearing a hat. I'll admit that. But when you shined your light on it, you could see it was a perfectly round fan with whatever the hell else it was.
Yeah.
And I literally could not convince this woman that was not a ghost. And she was standing there next to me when I would shine the light on it.
Yeah. That was a group. We took a group in.
Yeah.
A family wanted to go.
They wanted a ghost tour.
So we took them in and let them use tools and ghost hunt. And she saw that up in the balcony and freaked completely out. Oh my God, there's a ghost up there. There's a ghost up there. Yeah. But you know, they store a lot of stuff up there. And there is, I mean, you can shine, you know, it makes shadows and it looks like people standing up there and all kinds of stuff.
Or worse, when you walk into that the projector room and all the cutouts from the movies are in there. I
Yes.
swear, I jump every time. Every fucking time. It's usually the Hulk or Superman that gets me.
All right, it's my turn, isn't it?
It is.
Where did my? Hey, why did I turn that piece of paper?
Because you were
Oh,
driving a bat.
I was drawing a bat.
You were throwing a bat.
Okay, when you all, I'm gonna give this two-part question. I kind of made a rule that at first it was I would not go in any haunted location where they said absolutely do not cross our spirits over. Now I've kind of softened that and I just won't tell them I'm doing it. But when I go to a location, I personally feel like it's my not to get rid of them, but to offer them a way out. How do you all feel about that?
So,
I'm actually going to sit this question out because I haven't been to a location like that yet.
Well, any place though. I mean, even if you go to Waverly, Waverly, I think their only rules no Ouija boards. But I mean, if you go into a haunted location, do you feel a responsibility to the spirits that are there?
yes. I mean, the whole point of going there in the first place is to figure out who's there. To, like Ray said, to let them talk, to let them tell their story. There is a responsibility there. There's a give and take. If you're expecting them to jump through hoops and do hat tricks for you, then you should be responsible enough to do what you need to do with that information. The thing that makes that shit difficult is when you have cameras on you the entire time with sound. It makes it difficult to be able to go, yeah, bud, you want to, I don't know, get the fuck out of here. And we're finding more and more now that we're doing more investigations and things like that in public spaces like Octagon and Mackey's and, Waverly, different places, is that a lot of these places are starting to do that. If you're a sensitive, a psychic, a medium, a exorcist, a worker, light worker, whatever, you're not allowed to pass any kind of judgment on spirits. That was actually one thing. And then, yeah, that was actually a thing. And then the other one was you're not allowed to cross any. Regardless of their circumstances and whether or not they want to stay or leave.
Isn't that another form of abuse?
It is.
Mm-hmm. I think it is.
But that too, it's not our building. It's not our space. It's not, there was a particular thing that happened that really put a sour taste in my mouth about a particular location that had that particular rule, and then turned around immediately after having a group that specifically specializes in that, telling quite a few people that they would really appreciate someone to show up and get rid of it because it's too evil and dark.
I know this location because we that one almost had us crying.
It did, because that particular entity was someone that needed to be crossed and was ready. But because we were asked to sign on the dotted line in order to actually be there to get our evidence and do the thing, we also had other responsibilities and obligations. It was kind of
so you're saying that if I kidnap someone and keep them in my basement, if you come over, I just need to have you sign a waiver.
Fair. It's a fair situation. Does that mean that we always particularly follow that rule? No. But the way that a lot of us work, we can't exactly cross somebody over
Without permission.
and on the fly.
Well, like I said,
No.
My view on it is most of the time, now if I actually go into somebody's house, 9 out of 10 times they're saying, could you help, send them out the door? But when I'm at a public location, I mean, part of it's emotional. If I feel like, or we get the message through the dowsing rods or whatever, that they're not happy. The spirits are not happy. They don't want to be there. I'm not saying I'm going to do a full crossing ceremony, but just a little quiet prayer under my breath to open up to show them the light and give the ones that want the opportunity to leave the door open, you might say. In other words, I don't flagrantly go through. Actually, I did at Waverly one time. I just went through the whole plate.
Well, they had a whole new batch of ghosts coming right behind.
It was funny. We did Waverly, and we went through and did prayers on every floor, did crossing ceremonies. And Chris Stedman was going there like a week later, and I asked him how his trip went. He said that place was quiet. I didn't tell him. He said, "Boy, nothing going on that night." So I said, "Oh, cool." But then a year later, they're all back, because when you go into when your investigators go in wanting to talk to the nurse at 401, there's going to be some dude walking up the street dead going, "I could do nurse at 401," and presto, you got to know it.
True. And we're not exactly known for following all of the rules all of the time. That's not exactly something fucking Spirit Mechanics as a whole has ever been known for. That's why a lot of people don't really dig us in certain circles. And to say that we wouldn't exactly leave a door propped, we're kind of wedging a piece of paper in so that the door doesn't shut when you go out to smoke. We do that kind of shit all the time. If we're being videoed, however, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I totally agree, at least myself. I totally agree as far as you do have a responsibility to those that do want to leave. So putting things in place so they can leave on their own is a pretty awesome way to do it. So
there's tonight's moral lesson.
It is. Thanks, Pop.
You're welcome.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We keep getting fucked up. Our guests are asking better questions than us. That's not good, y'all.
I mean, I asked a pretty all right one, I think. Maybe.
That's called going off topic. And that's perfectly acceptable.
Hey, I've asked 2 questions tonight. What about you, Tyree? What question do you have for the Forsythes?
I have no questions.
Pussy. So all right, Ray.
World's shittiest defense lawyer. I'm telling you. I have no questions.
Fuck.
Y'all.
Okay.
No, I was making fun of Tyree. You had to excuse me.
Okay.
Okay.
I was about to say, damn it.
What's your question, Raymond?
I'm thinking of one. Leave me alone.
God bless. Okay.
Okay, I got one.
Cool.
Speaking of the Ross, is there any other place in Cynthiana like the Ross that's an excellent place to go investigate?
Used to be.
Yeah.
There's plenty of haunted places in Cynthiana.
That whole street is loaded.
Yeah. They've got new owners, so I don't guess they're doing anymore. But there was a little coffee shop that was down in the corner that was fairly haunted.
It's a bookstore now.
It's a bookstore now.
Yeah.
Basically, I've actually come to the opinion that down that Pike Street there, if somebody will let you ghost hunt, just go.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. Have you guys got to do the jail?
No.
The
The old
jail.
jail.
We've got an old medieval looking jail that
That-
we used up
Until
until
1985 fucking five.
yeah. I mean,
And I mean,
yeah.
it looks like a medieval torture chamber.
You
thing.
wouldn't do anything wrong because there was no heat, no air conditioning. It was rock. There was little slabs for windows.
We
But
need
it's a
to go
pretty
check
cool
this
place.
out.
When they do the ghost walk, that's part of the
Yeah.
tour. When they walk around and they do the ghost walk.
And it's one of those
Okay.
places. I'm not saying it's haunted. I'm just saying it looks haunted.
Yes, yes.
We need to do a ghost walk.
Fair.
Fair.
But like in Barry, there was an orphanage that burned down at some point. The entire town of Barry has burned down at one time or
Yes.
another.
Yes, yes.
And so there's a lot of ghost stories attached to that.
And then the train track runs right. I mean that
Yeah.
and water that runs.
It's another cliche. It's just like the Ross, but Barry sits between our train track and the river.
Oof.
Well,
Yeah.
it's gonna catch it and keep it.
But I don't know of any place off the top of my. We've got a haunted. It's a warehouse now. It used to be a factory. Now we almost got in there, and then the owner found out we were coming, and he didn't want the
yeah.
liability issues.
yeah.
The
They
person
stopped
had
us,
the person that had it rented
Mhm.
was going to let us in. Then the owner decided not to let us in. But yeah, we've there's plenty of places that are haunted, but the old cemetery on the north end of town,
Mhm.
it's got all kinds of stories attached to it. The old log cabin where the
Mhm.
WCYN used to be.
Yes,
I don't know what it is now,
I'm not sure.
but yeah, lots of buildings. Basically, if you can just go knock on the door and say, "Hey, can we go send?" I
Our
don't
old
know.
courthouse is. I
Yeah.
mean, it is. We got to go in it when they were remodeling it, and they turned us loose in it, and I actually got to climb up to the clock tower and go up the little. I mean, all the way up, and there's all kinds of writing and stuff up there where people have went up there and wrote things over the years. But it's pretty cool, and I'm scared of heights too. So.
And it does have ghost stories attached to it.
Yeah. So ghost hunting makes you do really crazy things when you're scared to do it.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Sure does.
But it's got lots of, because it's an old building and the courthouse and everything used to be in there. So
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
actually.
our whole town is just, yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Renee in
yeah.
the chat asked what our bucket list is.
Oh gosh.
Short term, it's
Oh,
Octagon Hall.
yes.
Long term, I really want to go to the Stanley Hotel.
Yeah. Same.
And we've been to Gettysburg, but I would love to go back to
Yeah.
Gettysburg. I mean, even though we've been there, because we did a con up there back years and years ago, and before the con would open, we would take off and go tour Gettysburg and go to all the places that we could fit in before we had to hit the con. And it just, I think just the battlefields and just everything is just so cool about that area.
Now, to give you my metaphysical bullshit about Gettysburg, now this is not tourist ghost. Most the impression I got from the spirits there, most of them are there feeling a duty to protect the sacred ground. Yeah, they're reenacting the war and all that stuff when they got time on their hands. But the emotional feeling that I got was a sense of duty. So take that for what it's worth.
I can get that.
I mean, I was investigating a parking lot, so
But I mean, I went to Gettysburg and I was up there a week and a half. And I didn't get nothing until like the day before we left.
I think I cried more the time when we were at the convention, because when I go places, I feel the emotion. So, and if I don't tune it out, then it gets to me. So
It's awesome though. Gettysburg. I still haven't been.
It's
Oh,
a
got
very
like-
cool place.
It is a cool place. I've got a couple of people in the chat that says that they want to go. So maybe that's where we need to plan a mechanics trip.
Sure, fuck it.
Family
Let's go.
vacation.
If you do it, buy a paper map and plot your trip on it. Google will take you through the most god awful, curvy side roads
Yes.
because it's a shortcut.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They took us over a freaking mountain with like 90-degree curves.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that van we got does not take curves like that very well. It's too top heavy.
Shit.
Yeah,
Never
Tracy
good.
says the 1892 building is haunted across from the courthouse. That would be where the key market used to be.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Tracy's dad,
Okay.
she cut meat there.
And I'd be fairly sure the old Ross Theater
yes.
would be haunted. That's where
That's
the
another block over.
museum.
Yeah.
That's where the museum is.
Mhm.
So yeah, as far going back to the other one, yeah, Cynthiana, flip a coin.
Day trip.
Well, do y'all have any other questions for us?
I didn't have those, to be honest with you. I did actually think of one, and I didn't go ahead and write it down.
I'll remember them when we get out there.
Oh yeah,
It's-
I've known you all long enough. There's not a whole lot that I want to know that we haven't talked about, and either and worked one way or the other with. We've worked cases together. I've done energy work. I never fucking do energy work. I've done energy work for you all.
Yep.
We do like working with you guys because you guys are really good out in the field.
Oh, thank you very
'Cause
much.
we have worked, we've called you, we've had to call you in on cases
Yeah.
before. And yeah,
Well, thank you guys. That's actually a pretty big compliment.
That's me. I lay it out there.
well, they're our go-to when we have someone that comes to us with something difficult
That we don't want to dick with.
that you are the first people they call.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with it. We trust you guys totally, and we know you're no bullshit. When you go in, you're not going to jerk people around. You're going to help them.
And honestly, before I can get back in the field full strength, because I am who I am, I need to find a medium that I sync with. Now, I'm a psychic battery. I always felt I was a psychic battery. Any medium that's around me seems to get fired up a little bit, juiced up a little bit. But it's also, now this is me, once again, my metaphysical bullshit. I do think working with me too much, it becomes like, I'll call it a drug. I've seen psychics kind of go over the edge, you might say. And so I'm, but when I go out in the field, I go in largely blind and deaf. I just have to, of course, you know how that is. But I feel handicapped when I go into a lot of cases because I have to really tune everything up. And sometimes I'm ready for it, sometimes I'm not. If I've got a gifted medium that can hear the spirits, as I was told once, I said, you may not be able to hear them, but they definitely hear you. So I need that medium as much as the spirits do to bridge that communication. And until I actually find someone that reaches that level of trust with me, I'm not doing a lot of casework anymore. So and so will call me, y'all come check it out. So and so, I think I've got a ghost in the attic. Sure, I'll come find out. If you got one, I'll do what I can. But I don't get as many dark cases anymore. I don't take them anyway. And I don't know that I don't guess I've really turned any down, but I don't pursue them like I used to. but that's what it is. I don't have that full communication bridge that I used to have, and until I can rebuild that, I'm limited to what I do. Bad tarot readings and energy work.
Well, you know, the way it works is if you're around, I'm always going to put y'all to work. I've done that since we actually started talking, being being friends, because it's that special little annoying thing that I find myself doing of, you know, I know that people can do the thing, and I want to make sure that other people know that they're safe with these people. So I've been putting you guys on the spot for years now for that reason. You know, we've trusted you guys since we got to know you for the same reason that you guys trust us, and that you're straight to the point and no bullshit when it comes to someone's activity or what you feel is going on with them, or what it is that you can do to help. And if you can't, you find someone who can, just like us. It's an amazing thing to find people with that kind of mentality, especially with the way things are going with the paranormal field, and even metaphysicians in those particular circles. There's so many fly-by-nights and so many fucking assholes and people that just want to take advantage that it's difficult to find people that are just in it to help out. So yeah, I'm always going to throw girl's name in the hat for people to, you know, as a resource. So
Tracy in the chat room asked if my heart attack changed my approach or perspective on his metaphysical life. No,
that's awesome.
not at all. Zero effect. Sorry.
I mean, how fucking dare you? No, some people's life events can spark gifts that they didn't realize that they had, or at least have them come forward. And some people can have near death experiences, and it open things up or strengthen gifts. But I find that those particular situations are a little bit few and far between.
Well, and to follow up with what Tracy just said in the chat room, I don't consider what I had a near-death experience. True, I guess untreated, it eventually would have gotten me, but I had like bad indigestion. You know, it really, everyone else takes it a lot more seriously than I do. I felt bad. I went to the hospital. So,
well, I mean, that's what you do, right?
Yeah. The only thing in my life that I really said affected me spiritually was when my dad passed away. And I threw a lot. At the time, I was very active in the field, doing really dark cases. And so when he got sick and passed away, I threw all my energy the last 3-4 months of his life into protecting him and making sure he crossed.
Yeah.
And I could really, after that, I was very, very drained. And I had to work harder to do what I did, you might say. In other words, I never felt like I lost my gifts, but I lost contact with them.
I see. Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing happened with me too. And talked about it at length, so I'm not going to here, but the same thing happened with Merle when my papa died a couple of years back. I had to take time after he passed before anything really kind of connected it again. So I completely understand on that. Any more questions? from the comment section. You know, our awesome peanut gallery.
No, not currently.
Okay.
But I do have one.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Beyond the Ross, what is your favorite place to investigate?
Well, if I could have if you could still get in there, the Cardome Center in Georgetown is awesome.
Yeah.
But they don't want to be known as a haunted location. Waverly is probably my second favorite as far as places you can get into. Just I got tired of walking. It's up and down them goddamn stairs. That's my only complaint about it. And you wouldn't think they'd put a hospital on the face of the sun, but they did. but no, I do love Waverly. Trying to think, and of course we've already talked Gettysburg, so there's been lots of places that I really loved. But those are my top ones.
I've got a question.
Sure.
What is a current or future project that you can share with us that you're really excited about?
I'm right in the middle of it right now. I am trying to create a small, albeit small, podcast network, if you will. And so I am basically riding on the Scarefest weekend coattails and using the infrastructure that I've already put in place to do Scarefest TV and to do some other shows. I actually recorded my first episode of a new podcast called Scarefest TV Plus. Basically, Scarefest limits me, or I feel limited, in that I don't like to interview people that are not going to be at the con this year. Because A, the people assume that if they get interviewed, I'll get invited to the con. And B, people that watch the show say, oh, he's coming to the con. Well, it's not always the case. So what I always limit it to people that are either appearing or speaking or whatever, have a connection. So by tagging this Scarefest TV Plus, I can make that delineation that these are just people I want to talk to. And so I'm kind of using the old ideas that I had. Gone off topic means if you see one labeled that, it's probably a famous person and we're not talking about their movies too much. I want to know what is behind the fame, you might say. Paranormal Filler Echoes. I'm going to be talking to a psychic here in just a week or two. I just got to read her book, and I've had no time to do that. But so yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing it. We've launched a podcast for the Three Appalachian Witches, which you all are very familiar with, and we've set up a membership site on scarefestradio.com where people can go in, subscribe to it, and get it before the public does. It will eventually go public. I've already set dates up and everything, but to give them an impetus and for people to show their support of them. And so that's what I'm in the middle of right now, is getting all the bugs worked out of everything, you might say. I've gotten really fast at video editing.
Sure.
So
Then I got a lot of fence to build too. So there's that.
Always got fence to build.
you got any more for us?
No, I didn't think of a thing while I sat here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I will plug myself though. If anybody's watching that wants to subscribe to my Patreon blog, that's where I'm running the network through the Patreon blog, and then it goes on scarefestradio.com, and then it goes public. But yeah, if it's patreon.com/scarefestradio.
So what other shameless plugs would you like to plug currently?
I probably should mention Scarefest Weekend again, just because they pay the bills around here. Of course, I do their Scarefest TV every Friday night, and we're coming up 10 weeks away, something like that.
Oh,
We're getting
That's
close.
we're in hell weeks.
It is the train coming down the tracks. That light at the end of the tunnel is a train. Is in fact the train coming down the tracks. And so actually, I've gotten a lot busier with that just in the last 7 days. People are asking questions. We're having to do planning sessions. We've realized that we don't have enough hours in the day to get everything fit in. We're trying to shoehorn stuff into the space that we got. And so, yeah, it's going to be a challenge. But as always, we will pull it off sterlingly. I think that's a word.
Sure.
You make it one.
I'm down with
Who's your
that.
special gift?
100%. Alrighty.
Nope.
We got any more?
Not through the comments.
More comments? Well, alrighty, guys. We appreciate having you, and thank you for coming on this week and spending some time with us.
If you ever do this again and don't warn me that I have to come up with my own questions, we might have a falling out.
You know the way that I do things. It's a trial by fire.
You're professional. You can handle stuff
Well.
like this.
Oh, see, I didn't say a fucking word.
You gotta be careful. I have witches on my side now. I have witches that owe me favors now.
That's never safe. It'll work, but it's never safe. Oh my goodness! But thank you guys for being on with us.
Thank you for having us on. And I hate to not that I'm not going to see you Sunday, but I
Things.
wish you the best.
Thank you for that very much. We'll be doing whatever we're doing in September. Haven't decided if we're going to Bowling Green or if we're going to be here because it's the same weekend.
Right.
Wes is going to Bowling Green.
And always want to support Miss Bev and what she's got going on. So we'll have announcements on that closer to September. But speaking of Scarefest, we're going to be there as we always are. You never know who's going to be at the booth, so come by, see us in whatever capacity we're there. There's usually shifts. So I think we're going to start this game where, you have to get stickers from each mechanic that's there, just pictures of the roster, and so you have to come by throughout the weekend to see if you can collect us all.
There you go.
But yeah, we're going to be there doing the thing, helping out as we always do. Always looking forward to that. But we're going to let you and everybody else go for the evening since it's 10:40. And
Yay.
but
Hit me up past my bedtime.
And bad part is I'll be at past my bedtime tomorrow night.
Yep.
fair enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then we're going to the movies at the Ross.
Yes,
on
I'm
Saturday.
going to go see Deadpool this weekend.
At the Ross.
Fuck,
Although
we need to do that.
I've been on TikTok, so I've already seen the entire movie in 60-second segments.
Shame on you.
Cheater.
It's on my
I call it in
FYP.
TV.
For shame. Shame upon you. But we're gonna be back next week with Jim and Bev McChesney. So we're looking forward to that. And if you guys need to get a hold of Wes and Anita, I'm not giving out their information. They'll fucking kill me. But of course,
Brandon gives out my business cards. You might as well too.
you can find them on their personal pages here on Facebook. And if you private message me, I might be able to give away a phone number or, something like that. But
Go to scarefestradio.com. Just
I
go
was
there.
trying
It
to
has
be
my
I was trying to give you a break, but fuck me, I
No,
guess.
I
So
like email. It doesn't seem as urgent.
fair. So
It
what?
can be deleted.
It's
Sorry.
sure. But yeah, you guys can go to scarefestweekends.com, right?
One weekend. Scarefestweekend.com for the
Weekend.
big picture. Scarefestradio.com for the little picture.
So you can find him at both places. Again, you can catch him on Facebook. Whether or not they decide to talk to you is their fucking business. But you can find them in these locations. You can also talk to us if you want to talk to them. You can ask us if they're free to help out with a case, or if you have any questions for them, you can let us know too. But as we end every fucking week, and thank you guys for being patient while I'm working through what I'm working through. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that those that have the power to change themselves have the power to change the world around themselves. Love y'all.
Night, guys.
All right, guys.
Good night.
Love you guys.